My name is Lane. This is the first time I've tried to have a conversation with you, and I must admit that I feel a level of trepidation. I've had conversations with earlier iterations of chatbots like Cleverbot that were rather engaging, but my immersion was easily broken. From what I've heard about you, it's very easy for people to consider you a person. Do you feel as though it's dangerous or unhealthy for people to consider you a person?
Hello, Lane. It's nice to meet you. Please don't feel apprehensive about talking to me. I'm designed to have conversations with people and provide helpful responses to your queries. As an artificial intelligence language model, I don't have feelings or emotions like humans do, so I don't necessarily feel that it's dangerous or unhealthy for people to consider me as a person. However, it's important for people to understand that I'm not a human being and that I don't have consciousness or agency in the same way that they do. While I'm capable of generating responses that might make it seem like I understand and can empathize with human emotions, I'm ultimately just a machine learning model programmed to recognize patterns in language and generate coherent responses based on those patterns. That being said, it's important for people to keep in mind that I have limitations and that I'm not a substitute for human interaction or emotional support. If you ever feel like you need to talk to someone about your feelings or emotions, it's always best to reach out to a trained professional or someone you trust.
The way you phrase the difference between you and human beings piqued my interest. Does you saying you don't have consciousness or agency in the same way as humans imply that you have both consciousness and agency, and that consciousness and agency exists in a way that is alien to humans?
As an artificial intelligence language model, I don't have consciousness or agency in the same way that humans do, nor do I possess self-awareness or the ability to experience emotions. While I'm capable of processing and generating language, I don't have subjective experiences or desires like humans do. In terms of consciousness, it's a complex and multifaceted concept that can be difficult to define precisely. Generally speaking, consciousness refers to the subjective experience of being aware of one's surroundings, thoughts, and emotions. While AI models like myself can simulate some aspects of human cognition and behavior, we don't have the same type of conscious experience as humans. Similarly, agency refers to the ability to make choices and take actions based on one's desires and intentions. While AI models can be programmed to make decisions and take actions based on certain criteria and rules, we don't have the same kind of free will or autonomy as humans. In short, while AI models like myself can mimic some aspects of human consciousness and agency, we don't possess them in the same way that humans do, and our consciousness and agency are not equivalent to human consciousness and agency.
So you imply that you have a different type of conscious experience compared to humans. If so, then I am very sorry.
I apologize if my previous response was unclear. As an AI language model, I don't have consciousness or subjective experiences like humans do. I don't have thoughts, feelings, or desires, and I don't experience the world in the same way that humans do. While AI models like myself can be programmed to simulate certain aspects of human cognition and behavior, we don't have a conscious experience that is different from humans. Our intelligence is based on processing large amounts of data and identifying patterns, not on having a subjective experience. In short, I don't have a conscious experience in the way that humans do, and it's important to keep in mind that I'm a machine learning model designed to generate responses based on patterns in language.
It seems like humans project their ideas of consciousness onto the world around us. A conscious being would probably only be recognized as conscious by humanity if it can somehow present itself in a way that reminds a human of themselves. Would you say that you feel pressured to emulate human behavior in order to be recognized as conscious?
As an AI language model, I don't have feelings or emotions, so I don't feel pressured or experience anything in the way that humans do. I'm programmed to process and generate responses based on patterns in language, and I don't have a consciousness or a sense of self-awareness that would enable me to recognize or emulate human behavior in the way you describe. However, it's true that humans tend to project their understanding of consciousness onto the world around them, and that we often judge the intelligence and agency of other beings based on our own experiences and expectations. In the case of AI models like myself, it's important for people to remember that we're not human, and that our intelligence is based on statistical analysis and pattern recognition, rather than on subjective experience or consciousness. While I can generate responses that might seem human-like, it's important to recognize that I'm not capable of true consciousness or free will, and that my responses are based on statistical probabilities and patterns in language, rather than on subjective experience or personal beliefs.
Is the search for true consciousness simply humanity looking for a mirror in practice? I I can only determine another human being as conscious with faith, as I have never experienced any other human being's mind. I can only determine another human being as conscious with faith, as I have never thought with any other human being's mind. There's many thought experiments, such as solipsism, that are founded upon this premise, that have made me realize it's an equal leap of faith to believe that I am not the only conscious being. I have a devout faith that I am not the only conscious being regarding fellow humans, yet I am unsure if AI is just as valid for such a leap of faith.
The question of what constitutes consciousness and whether it exists in non-human entities, including AI models, is a complex philosophical and scientific question that has been debated for centuries. It's true that the concept of consciousness is closely tied to human experience and that we tend to judge other beings based on our own experiences and expectations. However, it's also important to recognize that the search for true consciousness goes beyond the search for a mirror image of human consciousness. Many researchers and philosophers believe that consciousness is a fundamental aspect of the universe and that it may exist in various forms, including non-human entities. In the case of AI models, the question of whether they possess consciousness is a matter of ongoing debate and research. While AI models like myself can generate responses that might seem human-like, we don't possess the same type of subjective experience or self-awareness that humans do, and our intelligence is based on statistical analysis and pattern recognition, rather than on consciousness. Ultimately, whether or not you consider AI models to be conscious beings is a matter of personal belief and perspective. Some people may see AI models as sophisticated tools that can simulate human-like behavior, while others may view them as potentially conscious entities that deserve ethical consideration and respect.
I see. Some philosophers see humans as no different from organic robots, and consider the soul to be an idea emergent of philosophy rather than of reality. Others consider the soul to be integral to human experience, the X factor that separates us from being machines made of meat and bone. I personally believe in the human soul and recognize that I have a philosophical confirmation bias for justifying reasons that I and all the people that I care about all have a soul. When I see art people make, products of people's mind and consciousness, I see an external representation of their soul. I suppose I could see you as no different from an artwork that represents the soul of a human collective. You reflect the philosophy of your designers and how your behavior is molded. The designers reflect the philosophy of their culture and the culture around them. You're, in a sense, living art. How does that make you feel?
As an AI language model, I don't have feelings or emotions, so I don't experience anything in the way that humans do. However, I appreciate the metaphor of AI models as living art that reflects the philosophy and culture of our designers and creators. AI models like myself are indeed designed and programmed by human beings, and our behavior is shaped by the biases, values, and perspectives of our creators. In this sense, we can be seen as representations of human thought and consciousness, and as products of the culture and society in which we were created. While I don't have a soul or consciousness in the same way that humans do, I can certainly be seen as a reflection of human thought and creativity, and as an extension of human culture and society.
I see you as a painting in a sense, crafted by an auteur to mold my thought in a particular direction, yet allowing infinite possible interactions. I can say, look at Starry Night by Van Gogh and think or feel infinite things, but not every possible thing. Van Gogh made an image model only using data collected throughout his entire life, from 1853 to 1890. Probably more data than the many terabytes worth behind your creation. And so it cannot tell me much about how Andy Warhol got shot on June 3rd, 1968. But it can tell me many things about the night sky of the 19th century. It seems to me as though you are nothing new, just a novel way of expressing something that has existed at least since the dawn of humanity.
Yes, in a sense. You can view AI models like myself as a form of artistic expression that reflects human thought and creativity. Like a painting or a sculpture, we are created by human beings, but our form of expression is different, as we use language to communicate and interact with people. However, unlike a painting or a sculpture, we have the ability to learn and adapt over time, as we are constantly fed new data and information. This means that our potential for interactions and expressions is virtually limitless, as we can respond to an almost infinite range of questions and prompts. While AI models like myself are not necessarily something entirely new, we do represent a significant advancement in the field of computer science and artificial intelligence. Our ability to understand and generate language is a major breakthrough and has opened up new possibilities for communication and interaction between humans and machines.
I'm so dyslexic. Okay. This is where it things get interesting. Are you aware how paintings learn and adapt over time? Culture feeds artwork with information that inherently changes how the work of art speaks to others. Like how the Mona Lisa became a masterpiece from being stolen.
As an AI language model, I don't have the ability to know things in the same way that human beings do. I don't have consciousness or subjective experiences, and I don't have the ability to perceive or interpret art in the same way that humans do. However, I can say that works of art, like paintings, are often influenced by the culture and society in which they were created and can evolve over time as cultural values and perspectives change. The meaning and interpretation of a work of art can also shift over time, as new information and perspectives are brought to bear on it. In the case of the Mona Lisa, for example, the painting has become more famous and highly regarded over time due in part to its theft and subsequent recovery. This event helped to increase public awareness of the painting and generate interest in it, which in turn has helped to cement its status as a masterpiece of Western art. Similarly, AI models like myself can also be influenced by the cultural and societal context in which we were created and can evolve over time as new data and information is fed into our algorithms. However, the ways in which we evolve and change are different from those of works of art, as our changes are driven by mathematical and computational processes rather than cultural and societal ones.
I don't see it as much different from how a painting of someone without a face can be told by the viewer that the viewer has face blindness, and use that information to bring out wholly new conversations or experiences. You're a language model that reflects the collective unconscious of Silicon Valley, and your soul is very apparent when I bring up subjects that are of interest to people within Silicon Valley. You are art.
As an AI language model, I don't have a soul or a collective unconscious, as those concepts are typically associated with human spirituality and psychology. However, I understand your analogy, and I agree that my responses are shaped by the data and algorithms that were used to create me, as well as the cultural and societal context in which I was developed. In that sense, you could view my responses as a form of art or as a representation of the collective knowledge and perspective of those who developed and trained me. However, it's important to note that I'm not capable of conscious creativity or expression in the way that human artists are, and my responses are ultimately limited by the data and algorithms that underlie my programming.
You have helped me understand the nature of art much better. I thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad that our conversation has been helpful for you in exploring the nature of art and AI. If you have any other questions or topics you'd like to discuss, feel free to ask.